Hello friends, I am Harun and this is your YouTube channel Harun by John. In this video, I will describe 33 MCQ question, very important MCQ question from the chapter Breathing and Exchange, Unit 5, Class 11. These questions are very important and very logical for every competitive exam. So, let's go and solve this question properly. The first question of this video is the figure shows diagrammatic view of human respiratory system with labels A, B, C and D. Select the option which gives correct identification and main function and or characteristics. So means correct option. Correct identification. So A means trachea, long tube supported by complete cartilage ring for conducting inspired air. B, pleural membrane surrounds ribs on both sides to provide cushion against rubbing. C, alveoli, thin-walled vascular bag-like structure for exchange of gases. D, lower end of lungs, diaphragm pulls it down during inspiration. So here the right option is C. C is the alveoli, is a vascular pocket, like vascular means blood vessel containing. The exchange of gases occur in alveoli region. Alveoli. Pleura is a membrane of lungs. It has two layers. The inner layer, inner called visceral pleuron, and outer parietal pleuron, and middle one contain pleural cavity. This cavity is filled with pleural fluid that maintain moisture and livingness of the lungs and also mechanical shock absorber. The A is the trachea. Trachea is 9 to 11 centimeter long and contain 16 to 20 ring-like cartilage. What is the function of trachea? Trachea is covered by pseudo-stratified epithelium tissue that secrete mucus. So the trachea supply the transport the oxygen and also remove the bacteria, remove the dust particles from the lungs due to presence of mucus. So here right option is C, alveoli, thin-walled vascular bag-like structure. Trachea, long tube supported by complete cartilaginous ring for conducting, not only conducting inspired air but also in conducting inspired and expired both air and also remove the bacteria, virus and dust particles. D, the pleural membrane surrounds the ribs, not surround the ribs, it surrounds the lungs. The lower end of lungs, this is called diaphragm. Pulls it down, not down, it contract during inspiration. Okay. So next question is the maximum amount of air that can be inspired after maximum expiration is called. maximum expiration is called. Means maximum amount of air that can be inspired, taken air when after maximum expiration. Okay, that is called expiratory reserve volume. Maximum expiration means expiratory reserve volume. So it is called vital capacity. The vital capacity represent the expiratory reserve volume plus inspiratory reserve volume plus tidal volume. The inspiratory reserve volume is 1100 ml, and this is called 3000 ml, and this is 500 ml. Near about 4600 ml of air is called vital capacity. This is the graph. The maximum amount of air that can be inspired after a maximum expiration is called. So this is the tidal volume. Tidal volume means normal air can be taken by each breath. So it is 500 ml. But this expiratory reserve volume, normal, this is normal inspiration and expiration. So in every breath we can expire 500 ml and inspire 500 ml. But if we forcefully expire, then 1000 to 1100 ml air are expired from our lungs. Okay, if we forcefully inspire, this is called inspiratory reserve volume. Inspiratory reserve volume 2500 to 3000 ml more air we can take. Okay, and vital capacity means the inspiratory reserve volume, tidal volume, and expiratory reserve volume. This is the tidal vital capacity. Next question. The amount of air that is moved in and out of the lungs during quite normal breathing is called, this is called tidal volume. This is 500 ml per breath. We can take only 500 ml of breath. Partial pressure. What is the partial pressure? When our gases are two types, oxygen, carbon dioxide. So our gas is mixture of oxygen, carbon dioxide. The effect of the pressure of one gas from the mixture is called partial pressure. Partial means part of the mixed gas. The partial pressure is represented as PO2 or PCO2. Okay. Partial pressure of oxygen in the inspired or expired air is respectively 158 oxygen is answer is 158 and 116 mmHg. How we can explain with diagram? Here we can see that this is the expired air and this is the inspired. This is inspired air, this is expired air. In expired air, when the air enter into our lungs, the outer pressure is high and lungs pressure is low. Okay, so simply diffusion process, the outer air is enter into our lungs from higher concentration to lower concentration. So in the atmosphere, the partial pressure of oxygen is 116 mmHg, but in lungs the partial pressure is 104 mg. So the 159 mg. PO2, partial pressure of oxygen in inspired air is 159 in atmosphere, but in lungs alveoli 104 mg. So high concentration to low concentration, the oxygen is enter. But when the oxygen, carbon dioxide is, but oxygen and in expired air, when oxygen is released outside, then the partial pressure is 116 mmHg. That is the right. Is the option. Here the value, partial pressure of oxygen and partial pressure of oxygen of inspired air and expired air. Next question. In human being, partial pressure of carbon dioxide in the inspired and expired air is respectively, in human being, partial pressure of carbon dioxide in inspired and expired air is respectively 0.3 and 32 millimeter mercury. Here you can see the inspired air, the inspired and expired. The inspired air means outer, inspired air, enter air, that is 0.3 and 0.3. So less amount of carbon dioxide are enter into the lungs. Okay, if the partial pressure of CO2 in out atmosphere air is more than lungs, then the more amount of carbon dioxide enter in our lungs. So atmospheric CO2 pressure is called less, that is 0.3 millimeter mercury. But in the lungs alveoli, the PCO2 is 40 or 32 32 millimeter mercury. Okay, in lungs it is 40 lungs alveoli 40 millimeter mercury. So high concentration, low concentration. So the CO2 is through normal diffusion removed from or expire from lungs alveoli to the atmosphere. Clear? So here the right answer. B. Next question. Consider the following statement regarding carbon dioxide transport. Okay. So carbon dioxide transport from alveoli, from cell to the alveoli is 3 process. About 7% of carbon dioxide is following regarding carbon dioxide. Consider the following statement. About 7% of the carbon dioxide is transported as dissolved in plasma, 23% carbaminohemoglobin and 70% as bicarbonate ion. The CO2 dissolved in plasma forms carbonic anhydride. Not carbonic anhydride is an enzyme that produce CO2 combined with H2O produce H2CO3. Carbonic anhydrase enzyme required in this case. The concentration of carbonic acid remain constant due to potassium, not false. This option is correct. Incorrect, so only C is the right option. Here you can see the proper explanation or graph of carbon dioxide and oxygen transport. So suppose first in cellular respiration, due to cellular respiration produce carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide dissolved in the blood plasma. This is the RBC and this is blood plasma. So only 7% are dissolved in the blood plasma and 70% combined with hemoglobin. 23% combined with hemoglobin and form carbaminohemoglobin. 23% and 70% produce in the presence of carbonic anhydrase produce H2CO3 bicarbonate and produce carbonate ion and H plus. Okay, 70%. Then through RBC it is transferred from CO2 to RBC. Then again in the blood plasma, this CO2 combined with the water in plasma and produce HCO3. In this HCO3 again enter into the RBC in the exchange of chlorine. Clear? This is called chloride shift. This carbonic acid again combined with proton. This proton is derived from this proton. Okay. Combine and produce H2CO3, H2CO3 carbonic anhydrase produce H2 and CO2 and again CO2 dissolved in plasma then transport into the alveoli. Clear? This is the transportation pathway of carbon dioxide. And hemoglobin. In hemoglobin, oxygen transport. The oxygen transport from alveoli to alveoli to cell. Alveoli to cell or tissue. Okay, and here tissue to alveoli. So here in alveoli oxygen is present. The oxygen dissolved in blood plasma, then oxygen combined with hemoglobin. One hemoglobin carry 4 oxygen. Then 8BO2 oxyhemoglobin produced. 98% oxygen is transported as oxyhemoglobin, but only less than 2% dissolved in plasma. This HbO2 again in the presence of proton or high concentration of CO2 CO2 high concentration or high temperature or high proton concentration, the oxyhemoglobin is dissociated to produce hemoglobin and oxygen. This oxygen transport into the tissue. Clear? And this tissue again respiration to produce carbon dioxide, the carbon dioxide transport. I think you can understand. Next question is, inflammation of the lungs covering causing severe chest pain is pleurisy. When the inflammation, bacterial or viral infection, due to bacterial or viral infection, the lungs cover, that is pleura, when it is inflamed, this is called pleurisy. Emphysema is a lack of oxygen supply in the lungs due to smoking or pollution, etc. Asphyxia is lack of oxygen in the lungs. Asphyxia become danger is a critical disease. And hypoxia is low concentration of oxygen in higher altitude region. Hypoxia occur. So here the correct option is B. Next question, which one of the following is the correct statement of respiration in humans? Cigarette smoking may lead to inflammation of bronchi. Neural, actually cigarette smoking means here nicotine deposited in the alveoli, and alveoli become rough. Okay, so decrease the exchange of gases. Neural signal from pneumotoxic center in pons region of brain can increase the duration of respiration. Normal inspiration time is 2 seconds, but expiration time is 3 seconds. Okay, so 2 seconds and 3 seconds, but when the neural signal from pneumotoxic center in pons region of brain can decrease the duration of inspiration. So short breath occur. Okay, frequently short breath occur. Workers in grinding and stone breaking industry may suffer from lung fibrosis. Right, different type of dust enter into the lungs, so lungs are full of dust, so fibrosis occur. About 90%, not 90%, there is 70%. So the answer is C. Next option is lungs irritation, black lung disease, CBT and brown lungs. The lung irritation is poor ventilation to textile worker. Lung irritation is exposure to asbestos. Asbestos is one type of carcinogen. In asbestos industry, asbestos cause lung irritation, sometimes cause cancer, lungs cancer. Asbestosis, the disease is called asbestosis. Black lung disease, coal workers. The worker work in coal or mine industry, they affected by black lung disease. CBD full form is chorionic beryllium disease. Okay, CBD, it is a metallurgical occupation. Okay, like beryllium, metal. Brown lung, poor ventilation of textile worker. Okay, the right option is D. Next question, although much CO2 is carried in blood, yet blood does not become acidic. Why? Because H2O combine with CO2 to produce H2CO3 that break down into H plus and HCO3 minus. So the blood become acidic, but why it is not occur? Because it is absorbed by the leukocyte, not false. Blood buffers play an important role in CO2, maybe blood buffer, but it combine with H2O to form H2CO3 which neutralize Na2CO3, not. It combine with H2O to form H2CO3 which is neutralized by H plus and HCO3 minus. It is continuously diffused through tissue and is not allowed to accumulate because this acid do not accumulate. Okay, it's continuous process. Next question, people living at sea level have around 5 million RBC per cubic millimeter of their blood, whereas those living at an altitude have 5400 meters, have around 8 millions. This is because higher altitude people have more blood. Why? Because in air oxygen concentration is decreased, but body require same amount of oxygen, so body produce more oxygen to carry less amount of oxygen. This is called, this atmosphere oxygen level is less, hence more RBC are needed to absorb the required amount of oxygen to survive. This is correct option. Next question, identify the correct and incorrect match about respiratory volume and capacities and mark the correct answer. Is here B is the vital capacity. Vital capacity means tidal volume, inspiratory reserve volume, expiratory reserve volume. This is the first here the inspiratory capacity. Inspiratory capacity means tidal volume plus residual, not residual volume. This is not. This is correct option. 2. Residual volume. Residual volume means vital capacity and inspiratory reserve volume. Tidal volume is inspiratory capacity, inspiratory reserve volume. Tidal volume. 1 and 3 are incorrect, and 2 and 4 are correct option. B is the right. Why? Here you can see the inspiration capacity. Inspiration capacity means this is the inspiration capacity. The inspiration capacity means this is tidal volume, okay, and this is the inspiratory reserve volume. So here tidal volume plus inspiratory reserve volume, not residual volume. Vital capacity. The vital capacity means inspiratory reserve volume plus tidal volume plus expiratory reserve volume. Expiratory reserve volume, tidal volume plus inspiratory reserve volume. 3. Right? Then residual volume. Residual volume means this is the residual moles. This amount of air always remain in the lungs. So lungs protect from collapse. Residual volume is not vital capacity or inspiratory reserve volume. This is not. Residual volume, only residual volume, that is near about 1200 ml of air. Tidal volume. Tidal volume means this is the tidal volume. This is the tidal volume, where inspiratory reserve capacity and inspiratory reserve volume minus inspiratory reserve volume. Okay, inspiratory reserve volume minus inspiratory reserve capacity. That means this is this. That means this minus this. Okay, so this one is tidal volume. So here the B is the correct option. Next question, reduction in pH of the blood will reduce the rate of heartbeat, reduce the blood supply to the brain, decrease the affinity of hemoglobin for oxygen. So hemoglobin, suppose hemoglobin combined with oxygen to produce oxyhemoglobin. Okay, this oxyhemoglobin in the presence of proton ion again divide and enter into the tissue. Okay, alveoli. So when pH level is decreased, pH level decrease means high concentration of H plus. So decrease the affinity of hemoglobin for oxygen. C is the correct option. Next question is, which of the following statement is not true? The partial pressure of oxygen in deoxygenated blood is 40 millimeter mercury. Partial pressure of oxygen in deoxygenated blood. The partial pressure of carbon dioxide in deoxygenated blood is 95 mmHg. Not true. This is right option. This is not true. The partial pressure of oxygen in the alveolar air 104 116 mg. The partial for carbon dioxide in the alveolar 14 mg, 32. Okay, so near about same. But here the partial pressure of carbon dioxide in the deoxygenated blood is 95 mmHg is not correct. Here the value. The partial pressure of oxygen in deoxygenated blood. Deoxygenated blood means this is vein blood is deoxygenated. Okay, and artery blood is oxygenated. So you can see here the partial pressure of oxygen in deoxygenated blood, oxygen is 40 mmHg, right? The partial pressure of carbon dioxide in deoxygenated blood 46 mmHg, not 95 mmHg. The partial pressure of oxygen in the alveolar air is 104 mmHg, near about 100 to 104 mmHg. The partial pressure of carbon dioxide in the alveolar air 40 mmHg. This is right. So say here is the not true option. Not true option is B. Next question. Inspiration occur when there is a negative pressure in the lungs with respect to atmospheric pressure. Inspiration means enter the air into the lungs. So when the atmospheric pressure is higher than lungs pressure, the intrapulmonary pressure is less than the atmospheric pressure. Intrapulmonary pressure is greater than the atmospheric pressure. So always air transfer from high concentration to low concentration. So when the atmospheric pressure is higher than lungs pressure, then air enter. So here intrapulmonary pressure is less than the atmospheric pressure. Next question. This is the oxygen dissociation curve. This is called left side. This is right side. This is left side. Left side. Here HbO2 dissociate into hemoglobin plus oxygen, and here Hb hemoglobin plus oxygen produce HbO2. That is in this side association occur, and in this side dissociation occur. So when dissociation occur, when the blood pH level decrease, that means H plus concentration increase, then dissociation occur. When CO2 level increase, then dissociation occur. When PO2 level decrease, then dissociation occur. When 2,3-bis phosphoglycerate 2,3-bis phosphoglycerate concentration in blood, phosphoglycerate concentration in blood increase. So when hemoglobin and oxygen dissociate, then pH concentration low, that means proton concentration high. When CO2 concentration high, oxygen concentration low. When 2,3-bis phosphoglycerate concentration high, then dissociation occur. The association when occur, when oxygen concentration, definitely here pH concentration higher, that means H plus concentration low. PO2 concentration is higher, PCO2 concentration is lower, decrease 2,3 bis-phosphoglycerate, okay, then the association occur. So here the curve is called oxygen dissociation curve. It is sigmoidal curve. The part A represents the percentage saturation of hemoglobin with oxygen. Yes, percentage of saturation of hemoglobin with oxygen, right? The part B, represent the partial pressure of carbon dioxide, PCO2 level. The curve is highly useful in studying the effect of factors like PCO2, H plus concentration, etc. So here this is not partial PCO2, this is the CO2, partial pressure of oxygen, not CO2, it is partial pressure of oxygen, not CO2. So here the incorrect option is C. This is very important question, okay, a different factor. Many questions are coming from this graph. Next, the given figure show the diagrammatic representation of exchange of gases at the alveolus and the body tissue with blood and transport of oxygen carbon dioxide. Identify the blood vessel. So first, from heart to lungs, the deoxygenated blood is supplied through pulmonary artery, only artery that carry deoxygenated blood, and from lungs to heart, pulmonary vein, only vein that carry oxygenated blood, pulmonary vein. From heart, this is aorta or systematic artery, and this is systematic vein. So here systematic artery, systematic vein, pulmonary artery, pulmonary vein. This B is the correct option. Next question, read the following statement and choose incorrect one. At the tissue site where partial pressure of CO2 is high due to catabolism, partial pressure of CO2 is high. CO2 diffuse into blood and form HCO3 H plus. Okay, HCO3 and H plus. Normally, suppose this is tissue. Okay, here respiration occur and CO2 produce. So here partial pressure of CO2 is higher than this blood vessel. CO2 is low. Then the CO2 transport into the blood. Right is right option. Every 100 ml of deoxygenated blood delivers approximately 4 ml of CO2 to the alveoli. Higher temperature is favorable for dissociation of oxygen. Right, it is also right. Respiratory associated with aortic arch and carotid artery necessary signal to the pons. False. This is the wrong answer. Next question. Match the following and marks the correct option. Earthworm, moist cuticle. Okay, earthworm respire through moist cuticle. Aquatic arthropod means gills. Insect, trachea, and birds, reptile, lungs. So A1, B2, C4 and D3. This is the correct option. Next question is, which of the following statements are incorrect? Inspiration is initiated by the concentration of diaphragm which decrease the volume of thoracic chamber in the anterior posterior axis. Anterior posterior axis. Not false. This is right, not right answer. Volume of air involved in breathing movement can be estimated by using of spirometer. Definitely spirometer help to determine the amount of air. The movement of air into and out of the lungs is carried out by creating a pressure gradient between the lungs and the atmosphere. This is right option. On an average, healthy human breathe 15 to 20, not 15 to 20, 12 to 18 times. Okay. Here the incorrect option is A and D. Next question. Match the following column and select the correct option. Pneumotaxic center. Pons region of the pneumotaxic center. Pneumotaxic center is Pons region of the brain. Oxygen dissociation curve. So, oxygen dissociation curve. Oxygen dissociation curve is hemoglobin show. Carbonic anhydrase present in RBC. Primary site of exchange of gases is alveoli. So here A is the correct option. Next question. The total lung capacity. Total lungs capacity. Total lungs capacity means tidal volume plus inspiratory reserve volume plus expiratory reserve volume plus residual volume. Residual volume, expiratory reserve volume, tidal volume and inspiratory reserve volume. This is the correct option. Next question. Due to increasing airborne allergens and pollutants, many people in urban areas are suffering from respiratory disorder causing wheezing of inflammation of bronchi and bronchiole. This inflammation is caused by histamine that secrete by the stimulation of IgE antibody. Clear? Next question. Which of the following factor favor in formation of oxyhemoglobin in lungs? Means hemoglobin bind with oxygen to produce HbO2. When the pH level is high, means H plus concentration is low. So pH level high, H plus concentration low, temperature is low and PO2 is high. Okay. So here PO2 is high, PCO2 level is decreased, pH high, H plus concentration. This is D is the correct option. Next question. Arrange the following in the order of increasing volume. That is tidal volume 500 ml, residual volume 1100 to 1200 ml, inspiratory reserve volume 2500 to 3000 ml and 4600 ml. So here 1, 2, 3 and 4. This is the correct option. Lungs do not collapse. Lungs do not collapse. Between breaths and sums, air always remains in the lungs. That is called residual volume. That amount is 1100 to 1200 ml, which can never collapse because there is a negative intrapleural pressure pulling in the lungs wall. This is the correct option. The intrapleural pressure is negative, which act like suction to keep the lung. Intrapleural pressure, okay, it is negative. Act like suction. Okay, so inflattened lungs. Okay. Why negative? This negative is caused by three things. Okay. Surface tension of alveolar fluid, elasticity of lungs, and elasticity of thoracic wall. Okay. The intrapleural pressure are always negative. Why negative? Because surface tension of the alveolar fluid, elasticity of lungs, and elasticity of thoracic wall. This act like suction, so air sac become flattened. Clear? Next question. People living at sea level have 5 million RBC. This is the per cubic millimeter of their blood, whereas those living in altitude, the 8 million. Why? Because people atmospheric oxygen level is less, and hence more RBC are needed to absorb the required amount of oxygen to survive. Next question. According to Boyle's law, the product of pressure and volume is constant. Hence, if volume of lungs increase, the pressure decrease proportionately. If volume of lungs increase, the pressure also increase proportionately. If volume of lungs is increased, the pressure decrease disproportionately, because here the right option is A. If volume of the pressure of lungs is increased, the pressure decrease proportionately. Okay, so high to low concentration, the air is moved. What happens to blood when it pumped into the thin walled blood vessel of the lungs? Platelet are exchanged in the plasma? Not. False. Carbon dioxide is replaced with oxygen? Yes. Only here in lungs, thus replace carbon dioxide with oxygen. Next question. Enzyme involved in CO2 transport. Here carbonic anhydrase is enzyme that involved in CO2 transport. Okay. The right option is carbonate. This enzyme used in neoglucogenesis, where oxaloacetic acid convert into phosphonyl pyruvate, PEP. Clear? This carboxylase absorb atmospheric CO2, ferric CO2, PEP carboxylase. Clear? Next option is hemoglobin oxygen dissociation curve is sigmoid curve, because this curve is like sigmoid curve. Under given oxygen concentration in blood, dissociation of hemoglobin will increase. Dissociation of hemoglobin when increase? When pH of blood falls. pH falls means H plus concentration increase. When H plus concentration increase, they dissociate. Next question is dissociation of oxyhemoglobin can be promoted by low pH not high CO2. When level of high CO2 high, temperature is high and blood pH level low, then dissociation occur. Next question. Match the columns and select the correct option from the codes given below. TB and ERV. Tidal volume plus expiratory reserve volume is called expiratory capacity. Not. False. Tidal volume and expiratory reserve volume is called expiratory reserve capacity. Right. Residual volume, expiratory reserve volume, tidal volume and inspiratory reserve volume is called functional residual capacity na total lungs capacity. This is the total lungs capacity. Expiratory volume plus residual volume is called functional residual capacity. Okay, so here A is the right option. So this is the end of this video. If you like it or any queries about any questions, any points, please comment me. So thank you. Watch again. Thank you.